After carefully reading the statement of the Finance Minister on the so-called stimulus package, I am reminded of the Hindi proverb, Khoda Pahad Nikla Chuha. Loosely translated, it means dig a mountain and find a mouse. Several economists have estimated it at 0.1% of GDP.
Yes.
The GDP is about 200 lakh crore. 0.1% is a very, very small amount. 0.1%, 1/10 of 1%. Government is doing nothing to revive jobs. Government is not even filling their vacancies in government jobs. Just ask for the number of vacancies in government jobs, vacancies in public sector undertakings, even they are not being filled. After carefully reading the statement of the Finance Minister on the so-called stimulus package, I am reminded of the Hindi proverb, Khoda Pahad Nikla Chuha. Loosely translated, it means dig a mountain and find a mouse. Let me make it very clear at the outset. The grand announcement yesterday was no stimulus package to push economic growth. It was another sly attempt to dazzle the people with exaggerated numbers and lead them to believe that the government is hands-on and responsive to the needs of the people and the economy. It is also a candid confession that the earlier so-called 20 lakh crore rupee package was a massive failure. It was a failure because it was a hoax. Remember that yesterday we also got the news that the IIP, Index of Industrial Production, had contracted for the 6th month in a row, and retail inflation had surged to 7.34%. More worryingly, nearly all of the rise in CPI inflation was due to a steep rise in the prices of vegetables that has hurt the homemaker the most. The numbers claimed this time too are a hoax. The stimulus is not, I repeat, not of a value of rupees 73,000 crore as headlined by some newspapers. Nor is it of the value of rupees 1 lakh crore, another number that is being thrown at us. The fiscal impact of these announcements is estimated by analysts to be a mere 0.1% of GDP. Let me repeat that, 0.1% of GDP. I'm also amazed by the use of the phrase demand infusion. I wonder if such a phrase exists. The government is also trying to play the role of Ma-Baap when it tells government servants what amount, on what goods, and when they should spend their own money. Just as the BJP has been telling people what to eat, what to wear, what language to speak, who to love, who to marry, etc., it is now trying to control people on their spending preferences. This is another piece of retrograde interference in people's lives. Now to the merits of the three announcements. 1. The 10,000 crore rupee interest-free festival advance to government servants is not additional expenditure. It will be recovered in 10 monthly installments. It is like buying on equated monthly installments, that is EMI. 2. The 12,000 crore rupee offer to the states is not a grant, but a loan. All the big states put together will get only rupees 7,500 crore, which is a minuscule fraction of the capital expenditure of rupees 9 lakh crore budgeted by the states for 2020-21. It will make little difference. 3. The offer of a tax concession to 35 lakh central government employees on LTC is a pathetic attempt to induce them to spend twice that amount out of their own money to gain a small benefit on tax. The FM is also disincentivized encashing 10 days of leave by requiring that it must be spent as stipulated by the government in order to get the paltry tax benefit. If we assume that the value of the LTC fare is rupees 6,000 at the lowest and rupees 36,000 at the highest, the government employee must fulfill 7 conditions. A, must spend rupees 12,000 to rupees 72,000 out of her own money or savings. B, must buy only a non-food item. C, must buy items that have a GST rate greater than 12%. D, must buy only from a GST registered shop. E, must pay digitally, not in cash. F, must buy before 31st March 2021, that is within 5.5 months. H, must produce GST bills. If she fulfills all the 7 conditions, then a government employee can expect a tax benefit, mark my words, a tax benefit of rupees 300 to rupees 7,200. Let us see how many government employees will avail of the FM's generous gift. Let us also wait for the CNAG's audit report of the scheme after 2 to 3 years. The most deserving people who need the money desperately have once again been left in the cold. They are the bottom half of the families in India. Government stubbornly refuses to make a cash transfer to their accounts as recommended by dozens of economists and as demanded by the Congress and other political parties. I'm sure that they are watching the government's pitiful efforts to revive the economy that will register a degrowth, a negative growth of 10% in 2020-21. Several economists have estimated it at 0.1% of GDP.
Yes.
Now, the GDP is about 200 lakh crore. 0.1% is a very, very small amount. 0.1%, 1/10 of 1%. Government is doing nothing to revive jobs. Government is not even filling their vacancies in government jobs. Just ask for the number of vacancies in government jobs, vacancies in public sector undertakings. Even they are not being filled. I don't think the government has any plan or any package or any scheme to bring back the jobs that were lost. Most of that is attributed to the rise in prices of vegetables. Partly it could be a seasonal factor, but I think it's also a factor of the supply chains being still broken or still bogged with lots of difficulties. Government must get down to brass tacks, look at what's happening on the ground. They must go to wholesale markets, retail markets, and talk to the wholesale merchants, the retail merchants, and find out why are prices rising. I don't think it's the reason is that there is a shortage of production of vegetables and fruit. I think the production is intact. It's just that the supply chain is not yet clear. It's blocked by a number of obstacles, I don't know what. And secondly, I think seasonal factors are also playing. If the FM had used the word generate demand or stimulate demand. She's used the phrase demand infusion. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a trained economist like she is. I've understood liquidity infusion. I've understood money infusion. I can't understand demand infusion. Maybe there is a phrase. I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. You generate demand, yes. You stimulate demand, yes, which is what we have been saying. You have not that all.
They are moving towards that direction, isn't it? I mean, now at least the focus is on creating or generating demand from the earlier package.
I have no problem if the goal is to generate demand. Will spending 0.1% of GDP generate demand? It's for you to decide. I don't think spending 0.1% of GDP will stimulate demand. You have to spend at least 10% of GDP. Some countries are spending up to 20% of GDP. All economists whom I respect and the world acknowledges as distinguished economists have said you must sharply step up spending. Even a couple of days ago, Jahangir Aziz has written a column. Step up expenditure sharply, not by 0.1%. This will not stimulate demand. This, as I said, is digging a mountain and finding a mouse.
अगर आपको हमारे वीडियोस पसंद आए तो प्लीज लाइक करें, सब्सक्राइब करें और शेयर करें।